Hello and welcome to the No One Asked You podcast. For this particular series, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, that darn Kitty.
Dorkus and I are both going into the story completely new with almost no knowledge of the story or world. Each segment will cover what happens in each new chapter while discussing our experience along the way.
This is The Hero of Ages. It's all in the pages, a blind read-through. And today we are covering Chapter 29.
Chapter 29.
Yes. And what a chapter it is. We finally get Sazed and Breeze meeting with the citizen. Happened much quicker than anyone expected.
Yeah, and didn't take that long either. Not a long meeting. So it happened, we got to the meeting quickly, and then the meeting itself was quick.
Yep. I will complain a little bit about Sazed in that meeting when we get there.
Okay.
Not a vigorous complaint, just a mild annoyance kind of complaint. We get some strange qualities about Spook that Sazed notices.
Yes, some changes, let's say, that have been perceived. And you're kind of, I found myself a little bit frustrated and like, guys, that's not a good thing, and it's not just normal. But I guess, you don't immediately jump to these conclusions because you're a character in the story.
Right. But whatever is tickling that lizard brain discomfort, guys, you might want to explore it just a little bit.
Yeah, I guess, you might want to explore it. And I suppose the reason you don't is trust and friendship and also having a lot of other things to think about.
Yeah.
But either way, what we're saying is scratch that itch.
Yeah. Let's get into it, shall we?
We shall.
The epigraph continues to discuss how the Lord Ruler worked very hard to maintain the same level of technological advancement and style over the centuries.
Even the fashion stayed stagnant, and then the example given is a pocket watch.
Yeah, so I absolutely loved that flavor. I loved the flavor of that. This idea that there are pocket watches, and those pocket watches did not change virtually at all over the course of 1,000 years, essentially.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But then we get this, everything stayed the same until it all collapsed, of course. Which, did you take that as, okay, this means now this collapse right now is going to lead to technological advancements that maybe we hadn't thought about ourselves in this world?
Absolutely. I mean, maybe if you want to consider it a spoiler or not, I know more or less what Mistborn Modern Era means. So I have a loose idea of what happens several generations from now and what the technology. Yeah, we get to steampunk world. So
okay.
I do sort of know that it's heading toward that. I just
want to know, how do we get to that when the world is collapsing? Like, I understand we need advancement when there is a challenge. Necessity is the mother of creation. I understand that. But so much is against them right now. I don't know how we suddenly get steam engines. But then again, like I said, necessity. So I guess I'm just, I'll be surprised.
Right.
When that happens, ingenuity just... Yeah.
It's the journey, not the destination. We're going to enjoy getting there.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but the line you highlighted, everything stayed the same, is the big thing for me, other than the pocket watches of the epigraph. It really had me ruminating on the supposed goodness of preservation. The Lord Ruler's action strikes me very much as preservation beast unleashed.
Yes.
And the pendulum has to swing.
Yeah, which goes towards your theory of, there's preservation gets its turn and then ruin gets its turn, that kind of swinging sort of pendulum, like you said. So yeah, we can see what preservation can do. We did, when we first were exposed to the idea of this thing called preservation, capital P, we did think about, okay, what could be good about it, what could be bad. And that, stifling innovation is definitely a bad thing of preservation, in my opinion. I mean, I am scared of our AI overlords, but at the same time, we're getting better medical care, etc., etc.
Right. And, well, if you don't move, you die.
Mm. Yeah.
Everything is changing and evolving at the same time, and what you change into is both a beginning and an end, a creation and a destruction. So this idea that preservation reigned for 1,000 years when maybe he shouldn't have, or it shouldn't have, rather, I'm wondering if we're going to be building toward an is ruin actually good kind of a thing, and then I suspect that by the end it'll be more gray. The world will be destroyed, but it will also be built anew as well, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think we won't get to ruin is good, because I just from the what we get from Marsh and all of that, it's horrible.
It's very evil sounding.
Yeah, it takes such joy in pain and everything like that. Maybe that's just a hemalurgy thing, but either way, it's something that is interested in that it gives me pause. But then again, I think even so, we might be going towards the balance between preservation and ruin. They need to work together, kind of thing. Knowing that Brandon Sanderson has been influenced by Wheel of Time, and Wheel of Time has the same sort of theme. I won't say Wheel of Time has done all of his is in the center of everything, but I do see a lot of it. And just a note from Warbreaker. When I did read the first annotation, which was in like the prologue or something, he did talk about the way he proposed to his wife and everything, and the way he wanted to propose to his wife, which was through a book, dedication, etc., etc. But he wanted to do it at the shop where he first bought the Wheel of Time. So like that's how important the Wheel of Time is to him, which was great. Anyway, maybe put that in your episode of Wheel of Time.
Love that. So then we get into the chapter, yeah?
Indeed.
Breeze, Sazed, and Ulrion have arrived in Urtio, and he's contemplating the lack of a city wall, or more specifically that the Lord Ruler had prevented most of his cities from having city walls. Yeah?
Yeah. What that indicates about the Lord Ruler in Sazed's mind, which is, Dorkus, tell us.
Vulnerability. It's incredible to me that you just brought that up, because the word I had literally underlined was vulnerability here. Basically, Sazed thinks that if the Lord Ruler felt vulnerable or was motivated by a feeling of vulnerability, then he might have believed that he could be defeated at some point. And I thought the lack of walls was characterized in the first book as in the opposite direction of this. I thought it was characterized as him posturing his strength. You don't need walls. There are no wars, type of a thing.
But now you see it as it is the other way around, because he had to keep the people from being able to make a stand, because having walls makes you able to take a stand. Then this goes back to the epigraph where he's stifled innovation because probably innovation could lead to killing him.
But I guess it's just the position that the Lord Ruler was in to be able to set these things up so as to allow him to maintain what he could as long as he could. And by all accounts, it was correct that he was able to reign for 1,000 years. And it wasn't until the well began to fill itself again that he was defeated. So I see Sazed interpreting it as vulnerability, and I'm just not sure I agree with him entirely. I can understand the interpretation, but it's not one that I think I hold.
I see it. I see it both ways. And I think what's important to take from this is just that Sazed himself had doubts about the Lord Ruler's omnipotence. So that's the thing that he then goes and says. Thoughts like that are the things that led him to Mare and then to Kelsia. So I guess that's getting a bit of an origin of, okay, cool, he started doubting the Lord Ruler, and then he becomes rebellious. So that's what he's focused on in this POV, this bit of the POV.
Right. Either way, as you say, the perceived vulnerability is what motivated Sazed to seek out ways in which he could fight back against the Lord Ruler. And it worked out well. Congrats.
Now the world's ending.
Yep.
But I mean, you weren't gonna negotiate with him, so
true.
What do you want?
Captain Gorodel is nervous. He doesn't like the city. He hears it's brutal in there. Sazed, interestingly, is optimistic. He thinks it's unlikely to be as bad as he's heard, which, I don't know, it has seemed pretty bad from Spook's POVs.
Yeah. What is that? I mean, he is in a depressed state. Is he just doing platitudes? He's just doing what Elend asked them to do, to be positive?
It does strike me a bit as this is the thing I should say, not necessarily the thing I feel. For what it's worth, as I interpreted the line.
But I still also feel he's a little bit distracted anyway. So yes, he's saying the thing, but he's not even really thinking about how the city is at this moment. But right. Yeah, I love Gorodel. Please don't let anything happen to him.
You know, it's funny you say that, because I was thinking to myself last time I read the chapter was Gorodel is kind of a standout character thus far. I did not expect him to be as likable as I had anticipated. Is it weird to say I like him more than Demio?
Yes, I like him more than, you know why? Because he's just not so stiff.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just a guy. He seems like just a dude.
Yeah. Oh man.
I love his what we get to, his line just now. That's where I'm
Me too.
He's so endearing. Yeah. Okay,
very much so. And it feels like Sanderson is trying less with Gorodel than he did with Demio. I feel like Sanderson really, really tried to emphasize with Demio his boyish face and his earnestness and the religion thing. I feel like Sanderson really wants us to like Demio, whereas Gorodel, I feel like I've come to just naturally like him and enjoy when he shows up.
Yeah, I think also a main focus with Demio is he's actually he's got quite a lot of zeal. I think that's what they're trying to get across with him. What Branderson's trying to get across is, there's zeal and there's dedication, and it could go wrong over there. Yeah, whereas Gorodel, like, it's just like, hey, it's a guy, and he's just unraveling his character is just being revealed to us as we go along. It doesn't feel like it's being set up for a specific purpose yet. I just like him. I just
and
so I'm like scared. Stupid George R. R. Martin.
Oh, hey, I like Gurm. So anyway, the exchange itself is Gorodel expressing concern that they'll be taken captive. Breeze bluntly reminds him that the point of them being there and not Elend is that they are expendable. And Gorodel responds with, I don't feel very expendable. Very funny.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, listen, I appreciate my skin. So I don't know about you guys. It's so good.
Look, as we're going through a lot of Sanderson of late, at the time of recording, it wasn't very long ago that we did our Way of Kings epigraph stream. and we're going through Warbreaker, and we're doing Hero of Ages. So I feel like I'm getting a lot of Sanderson from different angles. And as far as I've been uniquely sensitive to the way in which he writes banter and wit of late, this exchange felt bantery without being overdone in a way that I appreciated more than I have been feeling in other areas.
Has it felt a bit Marvelish in other places?
I've just been getting the empty calorie feeling a little bit of late.
Yeah, maybe it is just because of how much we're reading of it.
Yeah, I think so. But we'll get more into that discussion, I think, when we get over to Warbreaker.
There's way more empty calories there because of a certain character.
I think many characters. You've got Lightsong, you've got Denth, you've got Tongfa, you've got...
I think Lightsong's egregious.
Yeah. Point being, I was appreciating the more subtle, natural way in which this felt like fun banter. Here. Alrion notices the Narrows. What were the canal routes called again?
I'm not too sure.
Spook had a specific word for them. I'm blanking.
But it's not the Harrows. The Harrows is the slums.
Correct. I'm sure it'll come to me because it was a cool name. I liked it. Anyway, she comments that it looks disconcerting because it makes all the buildings look even taller. And Breeze notes that they used to be canals, but an earthquake diverted a river or something to that effect. And my mind, of course, went to Elantris.
Okay.
Just a little bit because of the earthquake there.
What were you thinking? It's connected, or it's just, hey, earthquake, Elantris, earthquake here?
That one. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think there's any big connection meant to be there.
Yeah.
Anyway, they continue on into the city where they are informed that the citizen will meet with them immediately. And then we switch to that scene. Quellion tells them that they are not wanted there, which is to be expected. I appreciate the efficiency of it and the clarity of it. It's like, yeah, he could have just forced them to camp outside and refuse to ever meet with them. Or he could just get them in, get the meeting done with. I don't want you here. Goodbye. So in that way, I do appreciate the citizen here.
Yeah, decisive action. We get description of how they've taken away all kinds of luxury.
Yeah, they're in a white box.
The citizens. Yeah, it feels like a box. There's no chandeliers, nothing. But I feel like it's all performative anyway, obviously.
There was a very specific and interesting, I think, subtle Sanderson here. I don't know if he's going to do anything with it or not, but I really, really hope he does. Sazed notices how Quellion is dressed in a deep red, verging on maroon, and the other members of Quellion's government are also in red, but then all of the people are in grays, right?
Grays and browns, I think.
Grays and browns, more or less.
Yeah, brown uniform. He's got soldiers in brown uniforms.
Sure. Remember Breeze going on at length about how dull and dreary browns and grays were, but red, now that's a color. Remember that conversation?
Yes. That is very subtle.
Yep. That has to have been intentional, right?
Yeah. It's a great rhyme, of occurrence. But yeah, we've also got that his government people, they don't have the deeper red. He's still standing out.
Yeah.
This is why I say the plain room and all of that stuff is very performative. It's kind of virtue signaling. He's not living these principles. He's still standing out. And it's just, it's the typical communism thing. And I also think red and communism, I think that's a deliberate choice he's made. Yeah.
Yeah. Sazed basically lets Quellion know, we didn't come here to conquer you. We certainly didn't bring enough to do so. He also says that Ellen Venture is a good, reasonable monarch, And Quellion calls Elend a liar and a tyrant. This next exchange is more or less going to be where my criticism of Sazed in this chapter lies. I don't think Sazed makes the best arguments that he could. In fact, I think he lets certain comments go by without arguing when he should. And obviously,
he doesn't make any arguments, actually.
Right. And I suppose you don't want to go in hyper combative, but there are just some framings that to me felt so egregious that it necessitated correcting, and Sazed doesn't do it.
Comment, yeah. It can be gentle, or at least disagreement that says, this is how I see him. At least say that. Show why you follow him, not, but yeah, I'm with you on your criticisms. Continue.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll read the exchange because I think it's that important for me to emphasize the point and a possible counterpoint, because Quellion is also forceful. So I question whether or not Quellion would have even let Sazed have the opportunity to correct the lie, especially if coming from Quellion's POV, you cannot allow diverse viewpoints, but it doesn't absolve Sazed of not even trying. So Quellion says, Elend Venture is a liar and a tyrant. That isn't true. Oh, and how did he gain his throne? By defeating Straff Venture and Ashweather set in war? Varvaz, war is often the excuse of tyrants, Terraceman. My reports said that his mistborn wife forced the kings to kneel before him that day, forced them to swear their loyalty to him or be slaughtered by his Kolos brutes. Does that sound like the actions of a good and reasonable man? Sazed didn't respond. So, like I said, the counterpoint to the point that I'm trying to make is when Sazed spoke up, Quellion interrupted. But the problem comes in where Sazed didn't respond. And it is such a disingenuous interpretation that Quellion has made here.
Yeah.
That it must be said for any justice or any wholehearted attempt in defense of Elend here, it must be said that Set and Straff attacked him first, not the other way around. Theirs was a defensive war.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I think you can at least get that out. I think what Sazed was going to say is war was inevitable or something like that, or that in that first sentence, but yes, he is interrupted. But either way, it's like, well, they attacked us. That's it. That's not the act of a reasonable man. Set and Straff were not being reasonable. They were not coming to the party for negotiations nicely. The reason they brought freaking armies upon everyone. So no, but yes, we didn't get any of that. And then just me thinking otherwise about this guy, this hypocrite over here, because it's like he's they killed all the noblemen. Oh, but that's fine because, the years of oppression and whatever. It's like, oh, sorry, didn't you want to be reasonable and let them live in society? No, it's fine. Just literally just killing a whole sect of society is perfectly fine and reasonable. There's nothing wrong with that because you're justified in it, I suppose, in your eyes. Revenge is okay.
Right, and if you want Sazed to make some reasonable and strong arguments that Quellion can dismiss irrationally, because it would mean giving up power, you can have Sazed try to bring up at some point, well, Elend gave rights to the Ska. He made an assembly and gave them a full third or more power in it. Like, you can go down that road, but you have to correct the initial misapprehension that he, in some way, was unreasonable in defending himself from 3 foreign entities attacking him first.
Yeah, but he's the thing. The problem is that he shouldn't have been king in the first place. That's the problem. Even though he was allowed by the people to be king from the beginning.
Yeah,
the whole reason he set up the assembly was because he was in power.
Mm-hmm. And the survivor ordered that the nobleman be killed. That includes Elend. And Quellion can go down the road of, it doesn't matter if he's a good man. It doesn't matter if he pretends to be nice to the Ska. The survivor told us to kill them, so we will. There are lots. Yeah. I really.
You can still get to that conclusion, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I've rambled on a bit about this point. I don't mind Quellion continuing to interrupt Sazed as Sazed tries to make that the point that Elend was attacked first, but it's really bothersome to me that he doesn't at all. The lie was just that egregious. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But we know Sazed is not himself. And maybe that's also another thing that's where that Sanderson is signaling to us, is this guy is not even, like, you know, Sazed would usually say, that is not correct, I don't think. You know, like something like that. He would say something. When anyone says something that is incorrect or curious or something, he would comment on it. But obviously that is normal Sazed. Grieving, depressed Sazed is not curious, he's not going to fight for anything, really.
Mr. Quellion, I do not wish to argue this point with you, but I must insist that you acknowledge that Lord Elend was attacked first.
Yeah, something like that.
Yep.
But if you could get it out, but, you know, just keep talking.
Yeah, but no, that's exactly how you do it.
You just keep talking.
Yeah, Sazed just becomes too verbose in trying to make the explanation, and Quellion just keeps cutting him off.
No, Sazed would be like, debate me, bro.
Oh, man.
Okay, get the shenanigans. Yes, sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, we should move on from this point now. Quellion intimidates them by reminding them that he killed the nobleman in the city as the survivor ordered, and it is inconsistent of Sazed to be serving a nobleman, despite the fact that Kelsier only ever spoke of killing them.
Mm-hmm. That is a sore point.
Yep.
He did allow Elend to live, but, you know, there's not much. That's it. That's as close as we can get.
Yeah, and Kelsier changed at the end.
Yeah, he changed at the end, but he changed personally. You know, he didn't go around at the end and tell Orosio to go and say, don't kill the nobleman.
Right.
You know, yeah.
And so apparently Kelsier never spoke of peace, which Sazed himself has to admit. Yeah, I guess I don't recall him. I remember him internally lamenting Mare, and I remember him. I think Kelsier was so hyper-fixated on just defeating the Lord Ruler and knowing that he wouldn't be around for what was after, that he trusted, per his letter, that the crew would be able to figure it out and rule in wisdom.
Exactly. My mind immediately went to Mare when I thought of him not thinking about peace or not saying anything about peace. It's like, yeah, but he supported Mare and he wanted what she wanted, which wasn't endless war. But this kind of guy is not going to take that. He's not going to. He's already decided that this course of action is great, and he's just using the whole survivor thing as a means to an end.
Agreed. And
so anything said to him in contradiction, he'll be like, no, he's already made up his. It's like a conspiracy mind. He's just not going to take in any information that changes his course of action.
Yeah, and I really think that a Kelsier emperorship would probably more closely resemble Lord Yeoman than Quellion. What I mean by that is I think Kelsier would keep the balls going and try to at least give the outward appearance that everything is fine. And maybe he would work with the crew in private to try to figure out what the ruin situation is. But I think outwardly he would want to continue the balls and pretend that everything's good.
He did enjoy a good ball. He was a bit of a dandy. But then again, he did seem a bit more devoted and dedicated later on.
Yes.
But again, Sazed is interrupted. Once that was achieved, peace, and then Quellion interrupts him. So, but the thing is, Sazed hesitated. No, he admitted. The survivor never spoke of peace. No. So he just admits it. Again, I think that's also another thing. Like, he admitted. It's like, no, we don't need you now going into this doubt of Calcia now. I wonder whether this is going to sow some doubts, and he's going to have to go through a whole thing of doubting Calcia and all of that. Just where he's at, this kind of questioning is not fun.
Mm-hmm.
I have no doubt he'll come to the right conclusion, but geez, it's going to take a while.
Yeah. But as you say, Quellion interrupts him after he brings up peace, and again intimidates, or tries to, claiming that he would have beheaded any nobleman who came on behalf of Elend Venture had they not sent Sazed as well. And again, I'm just screaming at Elend internally that he should have sent Goradel or Demio.
Yeah,
he should have sent Demio.
As the leader, not just a side piece.
Yeah.
But the fact is, then Sazed needs to realize he's important, though. Then he's the reason that the others are alive.
Yep.
So look at that, Sazed.
Yep.
Maybe you have a part to play here, Sonny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Breeze gets a good jab in. At that moment, Quellion addresses his group of government workers to highlight that Breeze is trying to manipulate them with soothing. He even wonders if Breeze used his arts to hex the pretty girl, Alrion, into bed. And the way he speaks about it as if he doesn't know exactly what soothing is, when we both know damn well that he has allomancers on his payroll.
Exactly. Yeah,
sorry, his bread stamp roll. Yeah.
Yeah, his bread stamp roll. Yeah, we don't pay. It's he shares bread with him.
Yes. Anyway, Breeze gets his good jab back at him to try to unnerve the citizen, and Sazed eventually gets to his point, which is to say that there's a greater threat to everyone. The mist killing people and coming more and more often with less daylight, and it's important that they band together for it. Quellion does not contradict what Sazed says about that, which suggests to Sazed that Quellion is at least smart enough to acknowledge the problems therein that should be addressed somehow.
You don't, same thing as, not Goradel, as the other leader. You guys can't just sit here and carry on as if the world isn't ending. You're just going to land up dying.
Yeah. I was almost expecting a comment from Quellion about the people dying in the mist not having enough faith in the survivor who is the mist, kind of a thing, but we didn't get that.
He might do that in public, or might do that, give that response in as a counter to, say, Sazed going to people and trying to explain to them that something's wrong here.
Right.
He might already have that lore ready as an answer. Yeah.
Sure. That said, Sazed continues his argument that the Central Dominants can make food longer because they have more daylight for the time being, and there are rampant kolos about, and it is a good time for their two nations to be friends with each other. And Quellion reframes that as a threat, which is to be expected of Quellion, I think. And I much preferred this reframing to the earlier reframing, which got no rebuttal.
Yeah.
Quellion is confident that they will survive because they follow the survivor. Sazed asks if he can stay in the city and possibly meet with Quellion again in the future. Quellion says that's not going to happen, but you can stay in the city because I feel like if I kicked you out, you'd find a way to get back in anyway. Thus ends the POV, yeah?
Back in the reframing, I just wanted to point it out in case, and we'll ask you, in the reframing where he's basically saying, well, Venture controls everything, and he's telling me to be his friend because he controls everything, which is a threat. But there is this line, next he'll be saying that Venture controls the mists. And that makes me wonder, like, is that like a little foreshadowing kind of thing? You know, is it, what is
Can
it?
Alan drop on the mists?
Yeah, is it something like that? Is it a little clue, you know? A hint?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Because it seems very pointed. Next, he'll be saying that Venture controls the mist. It just, because he controls the Kolos and the food and everything. So, yeah, I'm interested in that. That's all. I just wanted to point it out. I've put a little star there. Maybe something happens.
Man, I bet there's going to be now an amazing fight scene involved in manipulating the mists, and it'll retreat from Vin but move about with Elend. Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah, we need to see what it does with Elend. We haven't had a description either way of how it works with Elend, how the mist behaves.
Yeah. Ooh, good thinking, Kitty. Excellent.
Speculation.
So then we jump forward in time a little bit. Breeze is back in the carriage. They're all gone. And he's commenting on the gray clothing. And that's where I wrote my note. Breeze, red. Ha. And Breeze is feeling optimistic that they'll be able to convince him to join. And Sazed is more pessimistic on the matter.
He says that it's different, yeah. It's just, there's going to be... And the people are more subservient, which is like, well, you don't know what's going on in Fadrix.
I do lean more towards Sazed's point, though. I think Spook is correct, and a rebellion will be necessary to oust the citizen.
There's no making allies with him. It's create this rebellion and save people, or leave them be and let them die.
Right. And I guess we're going to need what's in that cache, so we might as well rescue the poor, downtrodden people of the city. There's a burning going on, and it's happening at a distance, so they can't quite see what's being burnt, but a random soldier tells them it's tapestries. The citizen keeps warehouses full of nobleman stuff to burn to make points at various points.
Yeah. We get a bit of Sazed reflexively. He actually wants to look far, and he thinks of reaching for his tin mind, and then he's like, oh. So I'm like, yes, keep noticing how you should be using stuff, okay? You're being silly, okay?
I mean, I'm fine with him not using it personally.
I'm not.
I go back to the start of the book where I was like, I would not trust the memories you've placed, knowing Ruin switched them. So why do you trust the rest?
Yeah, the memory one, yeah. He's getting the reflex, like the strength, all of the physical sort of things. Those are important.
Probably, but I still don't trust it for the time being.
Well, then we can't even trust Allomancy.
That's true, too. Fair point, Kitty. Anyway, that random soldier turns out to be Spook. And we get the start of Lizard Brain activated when Sazed notes that he wonders why Spook is wearing a blindfold, and he supposes Spook must be able to see through it, but it doesn't look like it's very see-through.
It certainly seemed thick enough to be obscuring ... and we just jump.
Yep.
It's like, oh well. Yeah.
Yep.
And he's very assertive.
Very.
Now that he's like, we knew he's changed us because we've been in his POVs, but now he actually has the crew in front of him, and he just takes control. Really, like he's not mean about it. He's not like, hey, this is where we're going. It's like, no, I've got this. I've prepared. He's a very
businesslike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is my turf, my territory. I know things here, so you two listen to me. And if
I'm ready.
Okay.
I've thought of these things. It's not that like, oh, I've thought of these things and we must do what I say. It's just, no, you're going to need this, and I've provided it. Like,
right.
So it is pretty cool. And yes, they notice this change in him, but I worry a lot.
I do too. Spook brings them to the cache, which is hidden in the Ministry Canton of Inquisition.
Mm-hmm.
They're outside because it's all boarded up for the time being. And he's pulling... I was so curious if Spook was going to hide that he can burn pewter. And he more or less doesn't. He starts pulling apart the boards, and Sazed tries and fails to do one. And he's like, man, Spook's been working out. He must have been.
Yeah, but it's like, come on, Sazed. We live in a world with pewter. But I guess
I'm going to defend Sazed.
Assume? Yeah, why would you assume? Like, that's never happened.
Exactly. Yeah. It has never happened before. There's no reason to consider why he would suddenly have two powers. And, he doesn't have a giant metal spike coming out his back or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm
and
fully supportive of Sazed not figuring it out.
But it's funny. It is funny knowing.
Yes.
And then it's just kind of like, you're not going to say anything either, because it's just like, yeah, well, everything else has changed about him. No wonder he's of course he's going to be stronger. He's been working out. He's just improved. It's new and improved.
Yeah, and clearly it's given him confidence. I appreciate that Spook goes down into the cache expecting them to follow, but they're like, it's too dark. Is there a lantern?
Yeah. And he's like, oh, right. There is that remainder of like awkward Spook. Where it's just like, oh yes, oopsie, forgot.
Yeah. There's some pros comparing this building, which was much more bureaucratic in nature, to the conventicle of Saren, which was much more creepy. Sazed calls Spook Lord Spook. Good on you, Sazed. I'll read the exchange. I'm no Lord Saz. Never did get Ellen to give me a title. He said that you only wanted one to impress women. Of course I did. What other reason would there be to have a title? Anyway, please just call me Spook. It's a good name. First off, I love that he owns it. Second off, in a just and righteous world, he should have inherited the title from Clubs, who probably got one, I think.
Yeah.
Third, it is a grievous offense against Spook that he never got a title when everyone else did, even if he just wanted it to get girls. And what is wrong with wanting to get girls? No, you don't want to be a man whore, but he earned it, damn it. He played his part.
Yeah, like, yes, you can say that, oh, he only wants the title for women, but you're right. He still did things to earn it. That doesn't cancel out everything else. He was still part of the whole thing. Yes, there was betrayal and all of that stuff, but so did Sazed. Sazed lied. So, yeah, it is grievous. It's so dismissive.
Yeah.
Just, oh, well, whatever. We don't need to care about Spook. So whatever happens with Spook, we know this is part of it.
Yeah. And he's young, and he might try to pick up girls and then wake up 20, 30 years later cringing at the terrible pickup line he used, or look back fondly on failed attempts type of a thing. But, you could also
successful ones? Come on, you look back on successful ones. Spook.
Or that, which are all hopefully done respectfully and are mutually agreed upon encounters. That's what I meant by success.
Absolutely.
But it's like, he's a young man, but all young men are young men. So he will mature. It's like, it's part of the process. What?
No. You're saying boys will be boys, Dorkus?
I mean, basically. And if you're concerned about his maturity level, like, raise him. I mean, don't raise him.
Yes.
Clubs was doing that.
Yeah, but don't dismiss him.
Yeah. Don't be like, I just don't think you're mature enough to have a title.
and then that's it. That's the end of it. We're not working on it. We're not anything like that. I am very angry at Elend.
Yeah, me too, honestly.
Like, obviously, he is not completely to blame with whatever happens with Spook. Of course not.
Spook's responsible for his own decisions.
Yes, but the fact that he has this feeling, that upsets me, because he was so absolutely dismissed by Elend when Elend needs approval from a male figure. He needs that. Ugh.
Look.
And now he's got ruin in his head doing it.
Right. Look, I know Spook is a divisive figure. In fact, there are two commenters whom I very much appreciate commenting, expressing their dislike for Spook. Please tell me, if you're watching this episode, let me know where you fall on this. Should Spook have gotten a title? I want to hear from the folks that don't like Spook, whether or not they agree or disagree about the title. But yeah, when you dismiss people, those dismissed people find less healthy outlets and they get respect from less respectable people. And it ends up being a downward spiral. So, yeah. Anyway, the "please just call me Spook, it's a good name" line rubs me a little bit. I don't want to use the word zealotly, but it definitely feels like prophetic-y, and I don't mean see the future-y. I mean more like God talks to me type.
And he gave me this name. So I don't need anything more. I don't need what Elend could have given me. I am Spook, which was bestowed upon me by the survivor. Yeah.
Spook says he's glad they're here. He wants to speak to them about things of gods and men, which again, it feels like it's coming from this place of self-importance isn't the right word. Conviction is closer. Sazed thinks it's confidence, but I think it's like a having seen the light, having seen the pathway forward kind of a thing.
And confidence that they will accept what he has to say. That it's going to be as he expects it to be, just revelatory for them, and that's not how it's going to go.
Right. Sazed asks Breeze about the blindfold, and Breeze shrugs it off, basically saying, he's always been quirky, but as long as he's confident and speaks clearly, I can deal with it.
Yeah. Love Breeze.
Very much so. He's trying so hard to be positive. They head down into the cache. Spook reminds them that Vin had been there before. And that's going to lead me to a little bit of a criticism. I get wanting to leave the reveal of the point of the cache, the water, for the audience to now.
Yeah.
But Vin, having been there, should have already communicated to Sazed and Breeze that it's the water cache. I feel like that's information they should have already known.
Yeah, I was like, did I just forget that? I was like, I need to ask Dorkus, because you remember things way better than I do. And so, and when I first read it, I was just like, well, maybe I'm just not remembering that. And that's the problem. That's the problem that I've come across. But I definitely would have remembered if there is a freaking underground lake mentioned, and the earthquake and all of this stuff, like that whole reveal. So yeah, it's quite a big criticism. I think it's one of the biggest problems I think we found in these books.
Interesting.
Narratively,
I did not expect you to be harsher on it than I did. I mean, I definitely think it's a valid criticism.
I think just the way it was just whipped out there, just, oh yeah, she's been here. And also just hasn't been dealt with, that, they should have this knowledge, but I suppose they were separate. They were separated, so maybe they didn't have, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Because it was mentioned, it absolutely was mentioned that Vin had been to the cache before now. We knew this, and they knew this.
Yeah.
It's just the existence of it as a water cache that we didn't know, that I feel the characters should have known. Now, you could headcanon it away as, well, the water was pretty deep into the cache. Maybe she just didn't make it that far, but I'm skeptical of that as a justification.
Yeah. So, no, the fact that it is mentioned that she was there, that does help. But yeah, I need a bit more of an explanation of why they don't know about this water.
Yeah. And I really do think it was motivated by Sanderson wanted to reveal it to us here rather than at the start.
Yeah. I like the reveal. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. In a vacuum, it's well executed.
In this chapter, within the confines of this chapter, it's great because we get Breeze talking about some earthquake or whatever diverted the river, and then we find out where the river was diverted to. That's pretty cool.
Or not so much diverted to, but because I think it's been cut off now. I think the water was cut off from
it's a lake
the cache.
Yeah, it's not a river. Yeah.
A still lake. Anyway, Alrion's asking questions. Why do they need to deal with the citizen if they have the cache here? Can't they just take the cache and move? And basically, Ellen sent them to deal with the rebellion, not just getting the cache. And they need to settle the rebellion in order to be able to move the cache. So either way, Quellion has to be dealt with. I really appreciated Breeze saying it feels so strange to be on this side of the rebellion. This side being the one putting it down rather than raising it up. And Spook has a great line. We may have to organize a rebellion against the rebellion, Breeze.
Yeah, it's still a rebellion. Don't worry, Breeze. I mean, everything could be. If any government took over in a rebellious way and then centuries passed, you would technically be leading a rebellion against a rebellion.
Indeed. And so they comment for a little bit about how this location will be an excellent base of operations because there's essentially only one entrance, which means they could last there for a long time, not to mention the existence of the cache, so it's not like they're going to need to go and get supplies.
I was worried. Were you worried when they said how there's one entrance and whatever? Yes, very defensible. But them mentioning that, I was just like, oh, are they going to be trapped? They're going to essentially be besieged, and that's it. There's not they can't get out eventually.
It depends.
It becomes like a standoff.
It will be concerning if they're stupid and accidentally reveal the existence of the cache to the city. If people watching them are going to watch regular peasants go in and then not come out, and suddenly this office building that can only house, I don't know, however many people suddenly holds 5, 10, 20 times that amount.
Yeah.
Then again, if they are able to use the cache to feed the hungry, poor, and downtrodden and win people over to their side against the citizen, it really all comes down to how they decide to use the cache.
That might be how they use it.
Yeah. And then they reveal the lake, and it is an epic reveal.
It's vast.
And that ends the chapter.
Chapter done. Good chapter.
Yeah.
But clunky with the reveal. Pre-reveal. The reveal's great. Pre-reveal.
Yeah. Really only those two issues for me in this chapter was Sazed not fighting against an extremely egregious lie and the thought that Breeze and Sazed should have known that it was a water cache in the first place. Everything else was fine. I enjoyed the lizard brain of, I've said it 5 dozen times, guys. What can I say? Of Spook and That is exactly what I would have wanted from the reunion here. So that was exciting. I really love what I hope ends up being an intentional, subtle Sanderson with Breeze noticing the red and the gray.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Anything else to say on the chapter, Kitty?
Not on the chapter, but you know I'm going to say it. Like the video.
If you like. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your week. Subscribe to That Darn Kitty if you get a chance, because she's got a great channel.
Subscribe to this channel because you know it's great.
It would be greatly appreciated. And there's a Discord where I post memes. And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks, bye.
Thanks, bye.